All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're tackling Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn by John Maxwell.
Oh, this one is all about turning those losses, those inevitable losses that we all experience, into wins.
Exactly. And you know, what's so great about Maxwell is he doesn't shy away from talking about his own losses, right?
Sure.
Like, he kicks off the book with this pretty humbling personal story.
Oh, yeah. Imagine John Maxwell, this big leadership expert, he's about to board a private plane and suddenly realizes he's got a loaded gun in his briefcase.
Oh, that good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And he'd gotten the gun for safety while he was traveling, had it loaded by a friend, and then just got so caught up with work he completely forgot about it. For days, that briefcase traveled with him.
With a loaded gun just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
It's not the typical start to a self-help book, but it's brilliant.
It is.
He's like, hey, I mess up too, right?
Exactly.
Even the most successful people make mistakes.
And the key is what we do with those mistakes.
Right. And like, he owns up to it, even uses humor.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I'm human, I make mistakes, but let's learn from them.
That's what sets the stage for the whole book.
Yeah.
Life throws curveballs.
Yeah.
But how we handle those losses, that really shapes us.
It does.
He even uses Charlie Brown as an example, always losing at baseball. Charlie Brown jokes because he loses so much, he must be the smartest person in the world.
Huh. That's funny. But it's true, right? We can either wallow or we can use them as fuel for growth.
Exactly.
And, one of the things he talks about, one of the things holding us back from actually learning from loss is pride.
Pride. It makes us defensive, blind to our mistakes.
Yeah.
Maxwell contrasts that with humility.
Okay.
Humility is what allows us to see those missteps clearly and actually make changes. Adjust.
Yeah.
He talks about John Wooden, the legendary basketball coach.
Oh, yeah.
Even Wooden experienced this early on, He was benched for a game because he forgot his uniform.
No way. He was the star player. What a lesson in humility, though.
Right.
You got to be prepared no matter how successful you are.
Or no matter what.
And it ties back to Maxwell's gun incident.
Absolutely.
Maybe with a little more humility, he would have double-checked that briefcase.
It's a great example of how even the best of us need those humbling moments.
Totally. So humility is key, but then there's this next step, taking responsibility for our actions.
Oh, yes.
And Maxwell doesn't hold back. He talks about how much we love to play the victim.
I do.
Like, he talks about this lawsuit against a parking lot owner because someone's car got stolen.
Right.
Like, it's the parking lot's fault for not preventing a theft.
Right. Blaming everyone but ourselves.
It's wild, but it's like so common. He contrasts this with the story of actor David Niven, who accidentally insulted a woman at a party. Yeah. But instead of making excuses, he just owned up to it with his self-deprecating humor, and it totally disarmed the situation.
I love that.
So taking responsibility, it's not about being perfect, but it's acknowledging your role and then using that as a starting point for growth.
100%.
And Maxwell could have easily blamed his busy schedule, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But instead he owned it, learned from it, and then used it to teach others.
That's powerful.
Right. It separates those who actually grow from their losses.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got humility, we've got responsibility. Now let's talk about teachability.
Yes, teachability.
Maxwell calls it the pathway to learning.
The key to unlocking our potential.
And it's not just about being good at school.
Oh.
It's this mindset, right?
It is.
Open to new information, new experiences, new perspectives.
I like how he uses this golf story.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Tell me about it.
So this husband hits his ball into the woods.
Okay.
And his wife suggests that he hit the ball through an open barn, to get back on course.
Makes sense.
He refuses. He says, I tried that last year and got a 7. He'd rather repeat the same mistake than consider a different approach.
We've all been there.
Right.
Stubborn.
But teachability is about letting go of that resistance.
Yeah.
Embracing the unknown.
And he breaks teachability down into 5 traits.
5 traits.
Open-mindedness, eagerness to learn, humility, the ability to apply what you learn,
yes,
and the courage to seek feedback. Yeah.
It's interesting to think about Maxwell and that forgotten gun, He could have easily dismissed it as a fluke.
Oh, yeah.
But he used it as an opportunity to reflect on his own teachability.
Yeah.
He realized his pride had blinded him to the potential danger.
It's a powerful example of how a loss can become a turning point.
For sure, if we have that teachable spirit.
Exactly.
Welcome back. We're diving deep into John Maxwell's day. Sometimes you win, Sometimes you learn.
And one thing that really stuck out to me is that change, it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming thing.
Right. It's not about this massive overhaul.
Yeah. Maxwell talks about making small adjustments,
Yeah.
It's more about shifting your mindset.
Yeah, like one thought, one action at a time.
Exactly. He actually outlines this 4-step process.
It's super insightful.
Okay, break it down for me.
So it's change your thinking, change your attitude, change your non-growing friends, and change your non-growing experiences.
Okay, let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Change your thinking. What does that actually look like?
It's about challenging your assumptions, questioning your beliefs, being open to new perspectives.
Yeah.
Maxwell really emphasizes the importance of having a realistic view of yourself, your problems, and the world around you.
Okay.
It's like recognizing that while hope is important, it's not a strategy in itself.
Okay.
You have to combine hope with action.
Right.
And a willingness to really think critically.
Got it.
He also talks about time.
Time.
Yeah, like successful people, they don't just manage time, they maximize it. They understand that every minute is precious. And they make conscious decisions about how they spend their time.
That makes sense.
It's not just about being busy, it's about being intentional.
Intentional.
Yes.
Okay.
And that intentionality, it flows into that next step, changing your attitude.
Okay.
This is where things get really personal.
How so?
Maxwell, he really believes in the power of attitude to shape our experiences.
I see that.
He even quotes Samuel Johnson.
Okay.
He said, "He who has so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own dispositions will waste his life in fruitless efforts and multiply the griefs which he purposes to remove."
That's a lot to unpack, but it makes sense.
Right. Like, we can't control other people, but we can control our own attitude.
Right. Our response to the situation.
Exactly. And it all ties back to taking responsibility, which we talked about earlier.
It does.
When we focus on changing ourselves instead of trying to change others, we really empower ourselves to create positive change in our own lives.
Okay, so we've shifted our thinking, adjusted our attitude.
Yeah.
What's next?
Now we tackle those non-growing friends.
Oh, okay. This one's got to be tough.
It can be.
Yeah.
We all have friends who maybe aren't on the same path, who might even hold us back in some ways.
Definitely.
But Maxwell's point is, if we truly want to grow, we need to surround ourselves with people who inspire us.
People who challenge us.
And who support our journey.
It's not about ditching your friends, but being more intentional about the relationships you cultivate, right?
Exactly.
He asks these thought-provoking questions.
Oh, I like the one, what kind of counsel do you receive when you seek it from unproductive people?
It makes you think.
Yeah, and what happens when you discuss your problems with someone who can't actually contribute to the solution?
So the people we spend time with, they really do impact our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions.
For sure.
So if we want to grow,
Yeah.
we need to be around people who are growing 100%.
Okay, so we've tackled our thinking, our attitude, and our friends. What's that final piece of the change puzzle?
Change your non-growing experiences.
Okay, what does that even mean?
It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, seeking new challenges and actively engaging in experiences that actually promote growth.
Okay.
Maxwell, he believes we should constantly be asking ourselves,
Right.
who am I becoming? And then make choices that actually align with the person we want to be.
I like that.
He talks about unlearning what we know to make space for what we don't know.
That's powerful.
It's about being willing to let go of old habits, beliefs, even identities that no longer serve us.
I see, yeah.
Like he uses baseball pitcher Satchel Paige as an example.
Okay.
Paige said, "It's not what you don't know that hurts you, it's what you do know that just ain't so."
Wow, that's a good one. So sometimes you have to unlearn what you thought was true to embrace the new truth.
Right.
Learning is a continuous process.
So we've talked about the importance of change, but how do we make it stick? Like, how do we turn these insights into lasting change?
Well, Maxwell, he offers this framework.
Okay.
It's the 5 disciplines of growth.
Ooh, 5 disciplines of growth.
Develop good habits, make time for contemplation, embrace consistency, be willing to pay the price for growth, and find the right motivation.
Okay, let's dive into those.
Yeah.
Let's start with developing good habits.
Okay, so Maxwell, he believes good habits are the bedrock of growth, Like small disciplines practiced consistently, they lead to significant results.
Small disciplines practiced consistently lead to significant results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He even talks about Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
He intentionally cultivated 13 virtues that he wanted to embody.
13.
Yeah, he focused on one virtue each week, tracked his progress in a notebook.
Interesting.
And over time, those small, consistent efforts, they really transformed his character.
So intentionality and consistency lead to lasting change. But, a lot of us struggle with consistency.
Oh, yeah.
Like we start strong and then life gets in the way.
That's so true. How do you overcome that?
That's where contemplation comes in.
Okay.
Maxwell, he believes setting aside time for reflection is crucial for growth.
I can see that.
He encourages us to really examine our experiences, both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
To identify patterns, to learn from those patterns and make adjustments.
So it's like hitting pause to gain some perspective.
Exactly.
So like journaling, meditation, spending time in nature.
Yeah, anything that works for you.
Okay.
But make it a regular practice. Regularity, that's the third discipline. Consistency. Maxwell firmly believes in the power of small, consistent actions over time.
Okay.
He says we often overestimate what we can achieve in a day or a week.
Yeah.
But we underestimate what we can achieve in a year or 5 years.
That's true. I never thought about it like that.
It's like the difference between sprinting and running a marathon.
Sprinting, it gives you that quick burst of speed.
Okay.
But consistency, that allows you to go the distance.
Consistency allows you to go the distance.
Yeah, and consistency isn't just about doing the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
It's about aligning our actions with our goals, our values.
Got it.
And the person we want to become,
Yeah.
Making choices every day that support our growth.
I'm all in on personal growth, but it sounds like a lot of effort. What's the motivation? Why should we even bother?
That's where the fourth discipline comes in.
Okay.
Paying the price.
Okay.
Maxwell's very upfront about the fact that growth isn't always easy or comfortable.
Yeah, I can see that.
It requires effort, sacrifice, stepping outside your comfort zone,
Right.
He uses this analogy about fencing.
Okay.
So this rancher, he goes to a store to buy some fencing supplies on credit.
Right.
The storekeeper, he asks if he's fencing in or fencing out.
What does that even mean?
The rancher, he says he's fencing in.
Okay.
Like taking on more land. The storekeeper's impressed, He readily extends the credit.
Interesting.
Then he explains to a confused salesman that he always gives credit to a man who's fencing in.
Okay.
Because it means he's growing. He's looking towards the future.
I love that analogy.
It's all about mindset,
Scarcity versus abundance.
Exactly.
Fencing out is like defensive. Fencing in means growth, expansion, believing in your ability to create a better future.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the final discipline.
Okay, hit me with it.
Finding the right motivation.
Okay.
Motivation, it's the fuel that drives our growth.
Okay.
But it's not about those external rewards.
It's not.
No, it's about connecting with your deepest values, your purpose, the things that really matter to you.
Got it.
He talks about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination.
Yeah.
Cultivating this intrinsic desire to learn and grow simply because it feels good,
Yeah, it's fulfilling.
Yeah, and because it aligns with your core values.
That makes sense.
It's about finding those activities, those pursuits, those goals that energize you.
That light you up.
Yes.
Okay, we've covered the 5 disciplines.
5 disciplines.
But I feel like there's one more crucial element we need to discuss.
Which is?
Hope.
Hope.
Maxwell actually dedicates a whole chapter to hope.
Yeah.
Arguing that it's essential for overcoming setbacks, for embracing change, and ultimately achieving success.
He even uses a quote from President Obama's victory speech in 2008.
Okay.
Where he said, "If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer."
Oh, yeah, such a powerful moment.
Right, a testament to the power of hope.
To inspire, to unite, to fuel collective action.
Exactly.
But hope isn't just about these grand societal shifts, right?
No, it's also about our individual journeys.
The challenges we face, the dreams we have.
Absolutely.
And Maxwell, he actually points out 4 key benefits of hope. First, hope empowers us.
It gives us the strength to keep going, when things get tough, to believe in ourselves, even when others doubt us.
And he tells the story of Marshall Taylor, the cyclist who faced so much adversity as a black athlete.
In a very racially segregated society.
Yeah, constant threats, discrimination, but he never gave up hope.
Never gave up.
He believed in his talent, his dream, and persevered.
To become a world champion.
It's so inspiring. It shows how hope fuels determination, resilience, the belief in our ability to overcome any obstacle.
It does.
Okay, so hope empowers us.
Yes.
What's the second benefit?
Hope fills us with energy. It's that spark, that zest for life that propels us forward.
I like that.
He actually points out that people who lack hope,
Okay.
they often struggle with things like depression and apathy.
Makes sense.
Hope is like sunshine for the soul,
It is.
giving us the energy to embrace each day
Okay.
with enthusiasm and purpose.
I feel like I need a dose of hope right now. What's the third benefit?
Hope provides motivation. Okay.
It gives us a reason to get out of bed in the morning. A goal to strive for.
Yeah.
A future to look forward to.
He uses that example of the rancher fencing in his property.
Expanding his horizons, investing in his future.
Right, that forward-thinking mindset. It's fueled by hope.
Absolutely.
And that motivates him to take action and create a better life.
That's the power of hope.
Okay, so hope empowers us, fills us with energy, provides motivation. What's the final benefit?
Hope makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah, it's not just a feel-good emotion. It actually has a tangible impact
Okay.
on our lives and the world around
He
us.
talks about Winston Churchill,
Yes.
who inspired the British people
During World War II,
with his unwavering hope.
his speeches, they were filled with this belief in ultimate victory.
So powerful.
Yeah, and they rally the nation.
And ultimately contributed to the victory.
These are powerful examples of how hope can transform, both individually and societally.
Totally. But what about when hope feels elusive?
What do you do when you're facing a setback so big that hope just feels impossible?
It's important to remember that hope isn't something we just passively wait for.
Okay.
It's something we have to actively cultivate.
We have to cultivate hope.
We do.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we cultivate hope, especially when things are tough?
Well, Maxwell offers some strategies.
Okay, I'm lost.
First, focus on your strengths.
Okay,
When we're feeling discouraged, it's easy to dwell on our weaknesses.
our failures.
Our failures. Yeah.
But focusing on your talents,
Your skills, your past successes,
it can help.
rebuild your confidence,
Yeah.
reignite that spark of hope.
Ah, that makes sense. What else?
Connect with people who inspire you,
Okay,
people who believe in you,
yeah.
people who offer encouragement and support.
Okay, and
Take action.
take action.
Yeah, even small steps
Mhm.
to move in a positive direction.
When we feel stuck, taking action can get us unstuck.
Exactly. It creates momentum, you
Yeah.
know, generates a sense of accomplishment and helps us regain that sense of hope.
Okay, so focus on your strengths, connect with inspiring people, take action. What else?
Look for the good,
Even in difficult situations.
even in difficult situations.
Okay,
There's always something to be grateful for.
the silver lining,
Exactly.
if you're willing to look for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Remember that hope is a choice.
a choice
Yeah, it's a decision we make every day to believe in ourselves.
to believe in the possibility of a better future.
To keep moving forward, even when the path is uncertain.
It's a good reminder that hope is not a luxury.
No, it's a necessity.
It fuels our dreams, it guides us through tough times, and empowers us to create a better future.
100%.
Okay, so we've talked about change, we've talked about hope.
We have
Now let's talk about bad experiences.
bad experiences.
Maxwell doesn't sugarcoat things. Life throws curveballs. But he doesn't believe we should let those bad experiences define us.
He tells the story about losing a briefcase containing a manuscript he had been working on for months.
Oh no.
I know, he talks about feeling stupid, anxious, frustrated, even despairing.
I bet.
But then his assistant, Linda,
Okay.
she took action. She called local police precincts.
Wow.
And after several days, she actually tracked down the briefcase.
No way. What happened?
Everything was still there.
That's amazing.
I know, and it's not just about the relief of recovering the manuscript.
Right.
It's about the lessons learned.
The lessons.
He realized he needed to be more proactive.
Okay.
About backing up his work, making copies, entrusting them to others.
That's smart.
And he also learned to appreciate the importance of having a supportive team.
Having people in your corner.
Yeah, people who are willing to go the extra mile to help us.
And he connects this back to his gun incident, right?
He does.
Highlighting his own tendency to be forgetful.
And the need to learn from those moments.
We can't always prevent bad experiences from happening, but we can choose how we respond to them.
Exactly. He offers some really great strategies for turning those bad experiences into learning opportunities.
Okay, give me the strategies.
All right, so first, learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes.
It's easy to blame ourselves, get caught up in self-criticism when we mess up.
Oh, yeah.
But if we can view those mistakes as valuable lessons, then we can avoid repeating them in the future.
That's true. What else?
Take action.
Take action, too.
Correct the situation.
Okay.
Sometimes that means apologizing, making amends.
Okay.
Or just, putting safeguards in place to prevent the same mistake from happening again.
Got it.
And share your experiences with others.
Okay.
Talking about our mistakes and what we learned can help others avoid similar pitfalls.
That makes sense. Pay it forward.
Exactly. Create a culture of learning and growth.
He tells this funny story about President George H.W. Bush.
The one where he threw up on the Japanese prime minister.
Yeah, during a state dinner.
It's a great example of how even successful people have bad days.
And make mistakes.
And experience embarrassing moments.
What matters is how we handle them.
Absolutely.
So Maxwell, he reminds us that our capacity for these blunders,
occasional blunders,
is inseparable from our capacity to reach our goals.
Like, no one wins them all.
And our failures are just part of our growth.
It's about shaking them off,
Yeah.
Learning from them and keeping moving forward.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
The 4 steps for changing our lives, the 5 disciplines for making change stick, the importance of hope, and the power of learning from bad experiences.
It's a lot, but I think it's important stuff.
It is.
But before we wrap up our exploration of sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Yeah.
There's one final concept we need to discuss.
Hit me with it.
The power of focusing on your strengths.
Okay.
Maxwell, he dedicates a whole chapter to this idea.
To this idea of focusing on your strengths.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He argues that we achieve our greatest success when we operate within our strength zone.
What's the strength zone?
The area where our natural talents and abilities, they shine brightest.
It goes against that traditional approach of focusing on your weaknesses, right?
It does. It's like trying to become well-rounded.
Yeah.
But Maxwell, he believes that while it's important to be aware of your weaknesses, our true potential lies in maximizing our strength.
Like maximizing our strength.
Yeah. He uses this analogy of a sports team, Imagine a basketball team where everyone tries to be a good shooter.
Yeah.
Even though some players are better at rebounding, passing, or defending.
Right.
That team would be pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Lacking specialization, synergy needed to really excel.
Yeah.
But if each player focuses on developing their unique strengths, contributes their best skills, the results can be amazing.
It's about finding the right role for everyone. Playing to their strengths.
Yes. And Maxwell, he encourages us to identify our strengths.
Okay, our strengths.
Those activities that energize us, the tasks we excel at, the areas where we naturally shine.
Got it.
And then, invest your time and energy in developing those strengths.
Instead of trying to be good at everything.
Exactly.
He's saying, when we operate within our strength zone, we experience greater productivity, fulfillment. We feel more confident, more engaged, more motivated.
We do.
But there's a catch, right?
There is.
Operating in our strength zone.
Doesn't mean staying comfortably within our comfort zone.
Okay.
Growth, it requires risk.
So how do you balance that? How do you operate within your strength zone, but still push yourself?
He uses this analogy of 2 zones for success.
2 zones.
Our strength zone, where we do our best work.
Okay.
And our comfort zone, where we feel safe.
Okay.
And to really maximize your success, you need to find that sweet spot.
That sweet spot.
Yeah. The overlap between those 2 zones.
Where you can both excel and grow.
Exactly.
So if you stay too comfortably within your comfort zone,
you risk stagnation.
But if you venture too far outside your strength zone,
you risk failure and discouragement.
It's all about finding that balance, right?
It is.
Challenging yourself without overwhelming yourself.
And he encourages us to, view problems not as obstacles, challenges and opportunities for growth.
I like that.
He reminds us that when we're in our strength zone,
yeah,
problems, they become stepping stones, propelling us forward.
So how do we find that sweet spot?
Well, first, you got to be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness, yeah.
Introspection.
And a willingness to, you know, seek feedback from others.
Experiment.
Oh. Try new things. Step outside your comfort zone.
But in small ways.
Yeah, small, manageable ways.
Right.
And see what resonates with you.
And I guess Find mentors, coaches who can support your growth.
Yeah. Challenge you to stretch yourself.
And provide guidance.
Exactly. It's all about self-awareness, experimentation.
And finding the right support system.
It really is a journey of self-discovery.
This deep dive, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, that while losses are a part of life, they don't have to define us.
We have a choice.
Yeah.
We can let them defeat us.
Right.
We can use them to become stronger, wiser.
And ultimately turn those losses into wins.
That's the power we have. Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, as we wrap up our exploration of John Maxwell's sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, I kind of want to shift gears a bit and talk about maturity.
Maturity. Interesting.
Yeah.
I usually think of that as something that just comes with age.
Right. But Maxwell, he has a different take, you know? He says true maturity, it's about a mindset, way of approaching life that really helps us to thrive, even when things get tough.
I like that.
And he outlines 5 indicators of maturity. And I think they're really helpful in kind of assessing our own growth.
5 indicators of maturity. Okay, I'm all ears. What's the first one?
Mature people, they learn to delay gratification.
Delay gratification.
Yeah, they understand that real success often comes from sustained effort, patience, and a willingness to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain.
So hard to do these days. Everyone wants things right now.
I know, right? It's instant gratification everywhere we look, but it's important.
So important.
You know, he talks about this study about children and marshmallows. Have you heard of this one?
I think so.
Researchers, they offered a marshmallow to these kids and told them they could have 2 if they waited 15 minutes without eating the first one.
15 minutes? Oh my goodness. I don't know if I could do that.
Right. Well, 2/3 of the kids couldn't resist, you know. They ate the marshmallow right away.
Yeah, I probably would too.
But the researchers followed up with these kids years later.
Oh, wow. Really?
And the ones who delayed gratification, they actually scored higher on the SAT, were less likely to drop out of college.
No way.
Earned higher incomes, had fewer problems with drugs and alcohol.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Right. It shows how, you know, delaying gratification, resisting those impulses, it can really have an impact on our lives.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like that saying, the best things in life are worth waiting for.
Exactly. And that's why cultivating the discipline of delayed gratification, it's so key, you know? It's about making choices that align with our long-term vision, even when it's tough.
I'm going to try that.
It's a good goal for all of us.
It is. Okay, so that was the first indicator of mature.
What's the indicator?
What's the second?
Mature people accept responsibility.
Accept responsibility. We talked about this a bit already.
We have, but it's worth repeating, you know? Mature people, they don't play the blame game.
They don't make excuses.
They own their choices. They learn from their mistakes. They take action to make positive changes.
It's about being accountable, not perfect.
Exactly. Maxwell, he talks about signing our work.
Signing your work.
Yeah, at the end of each day.
Okay.
Literally and metaphorically. It's about taking pride in our efforts, acknowledging our contributions, and, you know, being willing to stand behind what we do.
Like putting your name on it.
Exactly.
Saying, I did this.
And I own it.
And I own it.
But it's also, you know, owning our mistakes.
Learning from them.
And striving to do better next time.
Okay, so we've got delayed gratification. We've got accepting responsibility. What's the third indicator of maturity?
Mature people, they find their security from within.
From within.
Yeah, they don't need that external validation, approval, or possessions to define their worth or happiness. Maxwell, he shares this quote from Allen McGuinness. You know who wrote the Hasidic rabbi, Zusha, was asked on his deathbed what he thought the kingdom of God would be like. He replied, I don't know, but one thing I do know. When I get there, I am not going to be asked, why weren't you Moses? Why weren't you David? I am only going to be asked, why weren't you Zusha? Why weren't you fully you?
Wow, that's deep, but so true.
Right. Our true value, it comes from embracing our unique gifts, expressing our authentic selves.
Not comparing ourselves to others.
Not comparing ourselves to others. And when we find that security from within, when we really know ourselves, we become unshakable. We don't let the opinions of others or outside circumstances sway us.
We stand firm in who we are.
Exactly. That inner strength, that's a hallmark of maturity.
Okay, that's a good one. What's the fourth indicator?
Mature people, they're dedicated to continuous improvement.
Always learning, always growing.
Always. They understand that growth, it's a lifelong journey. And they're constantly looking for opportunities to learn, expand their horizons.
Maxwell talks about prioritizing personal growth over personal success.
He does. He recognizes that success.
Yeah.
It's often a result of growth.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around. And he emphasizes the importance of, moving out of our comfort zone.
I think that's where the magic happens.
That's where the real growth happens.
Embracing those challenges, experimenting, learning from our mistakes.
He quotes novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky, who said, "Taking a new step, uttering a new word is what people fear most."
But those new steps, those new words, they're what move us forward.
That's right. So important to remember that.
It is. Okay, so we've got delaying gratification, accepting responsibility, finding security from within, and being dedicated to continuous improvement. What's that fifth and final indicator of maturity?
Mature people value relationships.
Relationships, that's a big one.
It is. They know we're not meant to go through life alone.
Yeah.
They make it a priority to build strong, meaningful connections.
With other people.
With other people, yeah.
Maxwell talks about surrounding ourselves with positive people.
People who inspire us, challenge us.
Yeah, to be our best selves.
But it's not just about, having those people in our lives.
It's about investing in those relationships.
Yeah, and being a source of support for others as well.
Giving back.
Giving back, exactly. It's not about what we can get.
But what we can give.
What we can give, yes. Being present, being supportive, being there for the people who matter most.
Wow, so we've covered a lot. The 5 indicators of maturity.
Delaying gratification, accepting responsibility, finding security from within, dedicating ourselves to continuous improvement, and valuing relationships.
It's a lot to think about, but I think it's a really powerful framework.
It is.
For understanding what it really means to be mature.
And remember, maturity, it's not a destination.
It's a journey.
It's a process of learning, growing.
Becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And even though setbacks, and challenges,
They're a part of life.
They are, but they don't have to define us.
We can choose to embrace those experiences, learn from them.
And use them to fuel our growth.
That's really the message of John Maxwell's. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Life is full of ups and downs.
But it's how we handle those challenges that really determines our success, our happiness, our fulfillment.
I think this deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
One of the biggest takeaways for me is, while losses are a part of life, we have the power to choose how we respond to them.
We can let them defeat us, or we can use them to become stronger, wiser.
And ultimately turn those losses into wins.
That's it for our deep dive into Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. We hope you found it insightful.
We encourage you to, check out the book for yourself.
And keep diving deep into the things that matter most to you.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep turning those losses into wins.